Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico.
Reports of bitches talking in these streets came flooding in early this morning, but when I arrived on the scene, not a bitch was found.
And today we are here to start off another wonderful week's worth of content. Well, yes. But before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me at patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive videos, weekly live streams, and be a part of the live streams where we have multifaceted conversations with the very panel. If that sounds interesting to you, definitely tune in. Since this is a Nico's Quick Chat, we're going to skip the rest and get right into the story. Today we're going to be talking about persistence versus stalking. Nico, what is this? So, I'm going to give you an example of what's been going viral in the timeline with someone named Chance. And then I will give you my own experience with someone having this exact same energy in the exact same city. Nico, what do you mean? Chance is allegedly based in Atlanta. And I will say, the person that had the similar energy to him, I've only ever experienced this in Atlanta. And I will go further into it after we get through his portion. So, if you do not know who Chance is or the hashtag surviving Chance, it's because there is a young man based in Atlanta named Chance who is clearly searching for love. He is trying to find somebody that he can build that deeper connection with. It's just unfortunate that he seems to scare all the hoes away. Nico, what do you mean? So, surviving Chance, the hashtag went viral months ago, and it's because this boy is allegedly off his rocker. And I say that not because, actually no, he did do something even crazier. It's because he will bombard you with messages when you're not responding, curse you out, call you slurs, call your phone via different apps, email you, and then be mad when you quote unquote ghost him. So, this all started months ago, and I saw people talking about surviving Chance, and I was like, okay, well, if it's not anything dangerous or anybody's safety is at risk, I'm not going to put someone on blast because they just can't pick up on social cues. But in this situation, it crossed the line of simple annoyance into danger when someone came forward and said, Chance and I talked briefly via DMs. I was originally interested in him, but we only really messed around for a week, and then we just decided to keep it as friends with benefits. But he was obsessive. It shows that he had called this boy's phone dozens of times, he had emailed him, he had messaged him on Instagram, tried to video chat on Instagram, and eventually he popped up outside of this boy's dorm room. Nico, what do you mean? He got onto campus, went into the dorms, and waited for him outside of his door. He even has a picture of him sitting on the floor. And normally I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but seeing as how Chance has a history of bombarding and stalking people, I can't really say this is unfounded because he tried to respond. He said, well, you originally started talking to me first, and then I messaged you to get your Instagram, and then from there, we just left on good terms. And I'm like, okay, you decided that y'all weren't going to communicate anymore, that it wasn't working, but that still doesn't excuse you popping up at his dorm and being there until you were escorted off the premises. Because he even said, oh, I didn't get in trouble. They weren't mad. They just asked me to leave. I'm like, well, girl, yeah, they're going to get mad if you refuse to leave. But this isn't new behavior. Nico, I've talked about it a few times on this channel where there are stalkers, and I will give you my own experience just based in Atlanta. I remember when I was working for Atlanta Black Pride with Jacked, I was handing out merchandise and someone came up to me. They were like, oh, I thought you were very handsome. I wanted to talk to you. And I said, okay, cool. Yeah, here's my Instagram. The boy hovered. Nico, what do you mean hovered? He stood across from the tent where I was handing out merchandise and he eyed me. He stared at me angrily anytime someone would walk up to get merchandise and to talk to me at the tent while I was working. And I say that was in Atlanta because a few men from Atlanta that have shown interest in me are very persistent. And the persistence usually crosses over into annoyance because they don't take the hint that you're not interested. And I understand the conversation of telling somebody you're not interested is debated amongst the community, especially when it comes to app culture. But in this moment, Chance in particular messages people dozens of times without a singular response. And I feel like people need to start picking up on, maybe this person isn't into me. I always talk about being able to handle rejection, but I feel like what's worse than not being able to handle rejection is not understanding when you are being rejected. Because if you are messaging somebody back to back to back to back to back, multiple days at a time, calling them on the phone, calling them through apps, using their email to try to reach them, they are not interested in you. Nico, what do you mean? They are not interested in you. And I will be the first one to tell you, it's not that difficult to pick up on signs, especially if you are talking to yourself in a chat box. Oh, well, why don't they just say they're not interested in me? Girl, why do I have to explain that to you if you are talking to yourself for 20 messages at a time? It's something that you should easily be able to pick up on. I have the rule of thumb. I will double text you. At most, I will send you 2 text messages. I'm not about to send you 8 messages back to back to back with no reply. It's not in me, because at the end of the day, that comes off as scary. It comes off as unnerving to have somebody consistently harass you, trying to get sexual and or romantic access to you. And it is okay for them not to respond. I know. It is okay for a stranger to not respond to you if you are actively harassing them to get sexual and or romantic access to them. I don't understand why in our society, people demand a complete stranger's time via the internet, via an app, hell, even via a bar, because you find them sexually appealing. At the end of the day, everybody has bodily autonomy and can choose to not engage. But with that being said, I'll leave the conversation up to y'all. How did y'all feel about the surviving chance hashtag if you got a chance to see it? Because honestly, I did not expect this to make a second lap, because like I said, this went viral, I think in July. So the fact that it's going viral again and he hasn't learned his lesson that if I bombard somebody and they don't respond, they're not interested. Because even then, you're bombarding them and then calling them slurs and attacking them and insulting them because they don't want to interact with you. Who is going to want to interact with that? How do you feel about the dating scene where somebody can't take a hint, or when you say you're not interested, they try to convince you of their worth and that they are valuable of being sexually or romantically tied to? If you've been through that, definitely drop your experience down below. But before I continue to ramble, I'll leave the conversation up to y'all, and I'll see you guys next time. Boop.